ever see the friends that you grew up with? My real friends, and they'll always be my real friends to me, whether they talk to me or not. Right. Like I said, you could still love people, and they could say whatever, they could do whatever. You could love them unconditionally, right? So my real friends are the ones I went to school with,
right,
from grammar school. And there was only like maybe 5 of us, and one of them was a Parisi. So Parasi Bakery, that was the thing as a kid. You go get a Parasi Bakery hero, famous for that.
Yeah.
You know, Albert Parisi.
Okay.
We used to call him Albie. You know? We used to go to school over there. LaSalle Academy was the high school.
Right.
It was off of First Avenue and like 2nd Street.
I remember.
You remember?
Yeah, I remember it.
Every morning we would meet up, stop at Parasi Bakery, and get the sandwich of the day.
Yep.
We'd walk in and be like, all right, boys, you know, what sandwich you want? So a simple handwritten menu on the wall, tuna, ham and cheese, turkey, you know, nothing complicated like you know, prosciutto with mozzarella and arugula and tomato.
Yeah, they didn't do that.
No. It was just
pretty cut and dry, yeah.
Mayo, mustard.
Yep.
That was it, you know.
If you're lucky.
But the bread, man, and the fiadel, the biscuits, everything they made. So we'll go get our sandwiches.
Was it this one?
I don't look at that.
Wow.
Holy, wow.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's a couple
Oh,
of them,
that's
but
it.
I figured
That's
that's
the
the
one.
one.
198 Mott Street.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing?
So the sandwich.
Look at the bread sitting in the window.
They redid the
See
storefront. There you go.
Yeah. And
Look at this one.
That's chicken
That
cutlet.
looks like a parm, doesn't
That's
it?
a chicken cutlet. No, I don't think
Cutlet
it's
sandwich?
just got cold mozzarella and tomatoes on it is what it looks like. Or roasted red peppers.
Now,
One
I
of the
remember-
two.
I remember-
That's how I make them.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Wow.
But that place, I would say, to me and a lot of people that are from Little Italy, Parasi Bakery, hands down.
Yeah, no question.
Hands down, over 100 years old. More than 100 years old.
Yeah. Now, probably 100 years old back then. So it's probably 120
Wow,
years
look
old
at that.
today. Isn't that beautiful?
Back then, I forget how much they
That's
were.
an Italian hero right there. The one on the right.
Yeah, that looks really good. When we going?
Oh, my goodness. I got to keep eating this first.
Do you know how symbolic
Oh, my goodness.
that is?
It's
The
incredible.
Italian hero? Look at that.
Nothing like it. You know what I mean?
I'm going to save this hair for later.
Yeah, no kidding.
You were right. Don't get the whole.
I told you. The hole's huge.
The half was enough,
half
right?
gets you through it.
How much are those heroes today? Because I remember
got
back
a
in the
menu?
day, they couldn't have been no more than like $5, you know?
Let's see if we can find a menu.
My guess it's going to be close to $20, something like that today in today's world. You should think about it. You go out for anything today, it's $20 bill.
Uncle Jamesy.
Uncle Jamesy.
Uncle Jamesy, Aunt Mary. Like my old man be like, oh, we're going out to Jersey. Go see Uncle Jamesy.
Yeah, there's a big treat.
Well, when we went there, the whole family would get together. So you'd have my grandmother Jenny, my father's mother. You'd have my Aunt Weenie, we used to call her. Mary, Weenie, and Jenny. Am I missing a sister? Mary, Weenie, Jenny. I hope I'm not. But, oh, and then my uncle. They had one son, my Uncle Albert. He was actually my godfather. He baptized me
Wow.
as a kid.
Yeah,
I think he's still alive today. God bless.
no kidding.
But every time we got together, you would always see the sisters because they were like glue. So it was good. You've seen everybody.
Yeah.
You've seen Aunt Mary. You've seen Aunt Weenie. My grandmother Jenny, who was my favorite grandmother, by the way. You know?
Yeah.
I used to tell my mother's mother, too. She knew that was my favorite.
Yeah.
It was my father's mother.
Yeah.
My mother's mother knew. She says, oh, I know you don't favor me. Your sister favors me and everything else. You know?
She said that.
Yeah, I was, my grandmother Jenny, she was,
But your
she was
sister
my
was
favorite.
more attracted to your mom's mom.
Well, she raised 6 boys. Think about it.
Yeah.
My father, you know, and 5 brothers.
It's funny you say that. Italian families, big families. It's like my mom's family, 8, 4 girls, 4 boys.
What?
Yeah, 8 people. My mom,
but it's-
my mom and her
Your
family.
mother.
My mom had 7 brothers and sisters, so there was 4 girls, 4
So
guys.
your aunts and your uncles.
Yes, and on my dad's side there was 7, 6 boys and 1 girl. My Aunt Connie. That's my dad's family. So you think about that, and they're all having kids. I come from family of 5. I'm the oldest of 5. So that they had big families also. If you think about it, 5 is even big. What was funny about my mom's family, my grandma was lighter hair and blue eyes. All the girls in my mom's family, brown eyes, brown hair. All the men, my Uncle Sal included, lighter hair, blue eyes. Isn't that interesting? Only the boys got the blue eyes. It was the weirdest thing. My Uncle John, who's still alive today, he's the last one out of the family that's still
You got
alive.
a lot of cousins like I do.
Tons back in New York. Yeah. Haven't communicated, kind of like you, similar story. I was kind of disowned by my mom and my family for some strange reasons. Maybe we'll talk about that someday, but not today. Everybody grew up. Like I said, years go by. I haven't really communicated with anybody in the family for quite some time now. But maybe that'll change. Who knows? You never know. Family's still family, like you said. I'm going to love them unconditionally. Whether they love you back or not, that's up to them. But family's family.
So I heard a story about my grandmother Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
She used to date Al Capone. And I'm trying to get the pictures.
Okay.
There's pictures of her and Capone when they used to date. And she left Al Capone for my grandfather.
Okay.
So when they were together later on in life, they used to have arguments with each other. She used to say, look how I could have lived. She used to tease my grandfather. My grandfather used to say, yeah, say something in Italian, derogatory.
That's funny.
But he was a good-looking guy. I got a picture of him in the I think it's the Copacabana.
Okay.
With my grandfather, Frankie. I gotta post it.
Yeah.
It's a great pic.
Definitely post it, yeah.
My father's father, he died too young, 46 years old. He took 11 heart attacks, and the last one killed him.
11 heart attacks. 46 is young to pass.
Even
back then, that's young.
You talk about a guy, I'm not saying it because he was my grandfather.
Yeah.
But everybody I ever talked to about him, he was loved, respected. I mean, a lot of people were upset when he passed away. And everything changed. When he passed away, no one was the same. It never is. When the old timers go, it's never the same.
No, that's a true statement like I've never heard. I mean, that's so true when, the main character of the family leaves. It leaves a hole, and nobody knows how to act. It's sad to watch. I've seen it happen over the years.
I think about it. If my grandmother would have wound up, because I heard Capone was like crazy about it. I used to come in to the neighborhood a lot, and they were together,
It's a great story.
Imagine if she wound up with him, how things would have, you never know how it would have turned.
No kidding.
Maybe she would have moved to Chicago, or maybe he would have stood here. Who knows what would have happened? But there are pictures out there. I'm digging them, digging them up. See if I can get my hands on them.
You will.
But I do have them with my great-grandfather, Armando, which I think Armando was a way better guy than Al Capone.
Well, it seemed to work out for the best, so that's the key thing.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out that
for
way.
the best. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it did.
Okay.
But, Parisi Bakery, man.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever in the city, people say, since you're in the program, you can't go back to New York. You know how many times I've been back to New York since I've been out? Not now, because I can't violate parole,
Right.
But when I first got out, and I got out here in 2000, I was in the city all the time. All the time. Nothing stopped me. I got a sandwich in Parisi's. I got a sandwich in Fontanelli's. I'd go in and out of restaurants to go eat.
Yeah.
I went wherever I wanted to go. I didn't stick it in anybody's face.
Of course not.
And I can tell you, I would never say their names because I don't want to put them on the spot.
Yeah.
But I ran into people, and
they all wanted to know how you were, how you doing. Good conversation,
hugs,
I'm sure. Yeah.
Handshake, kiss, how you doing? You look great. This, that, And so that's why when I hear people, they'll say, yeah, when you're not around, they're going to talk about you because they have to. They have to knock you because of what you did. So they got to look like, oh, yeah, he's, he did this, he did that, or, that effing so-and-so,
Yeah.
he's no good. Then when they see you, it's all different. Shakes, hugs, how's your old man doing? How's the family? How are you?
Yeah.
Interesting. Right?
That's how it goes,
But, yeah, I used to go into New York all the time. Fly
That's
right
good.
into LaGuardia, fly into Newark. Newark wasn't around then. I think it just opened, Newark Airport. But
Yeah.
I would always fly in and out. But I don't stick it in anybody's face. Like, you know, you hear stories of guys going in and trying to. I would never do that. I would never
that's
go
not
in
your
and
style.
put somebody on the spot or to assault on a wound. You know, there's no need for it.
Yeah, definitely not.
Why would you do that? Because
Doesn't get you anywhere, really.
here's how I look at it. Let's say there's 10 of us guys. We're going out to eat.
Mhm.
There's a beautiful girl with her boyfriend.
Mhm.
Now we start hitting on the girl or start making, you know, comments.
Mhm.
If the guy does something, it's 10-on-1. He's going to lose.
Yeah.
If he doesn't do something, now he looks bad in front of his girl. He's a punk, right?
Yeah.
So why put somebody in that position?
It's best you don't, obviously. You know,
That's the way I always looked
doesn't
at it.
get you anywhere, really.
That's the way I always looked at it.
Yeah.
Not that it's not a matter of, he's afraid. No, ain't nothing like that. It's the fact that I wouldn't put anybody in a position because if they did something, they're going to lose. If they don't do something, they're going to look at them and say, how come you didn't do anything?
Yeah, I think that's just respectful on your part of the situation. You're being respectful not only to the person, but the girl as well. It's just respect. I mean, and then you grew up with that. It's instilled in you. You're not going to be that guy. You're not a vengeful person. You know.
And I got nothing to prove anymore, you know?
No. We all know who you are now. That's what matters. To me, it does.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, to me, it does.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
But this Donnie Brasco thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, did I mention, Parasi Bakery?
Right.
There was one other one that was there, was Fontanelli's, but nothing compared to, like I said, all the love for Parisi's.
Yeah.
Good family. I still got, I know I got cousins out there that I don't talk to, but if I don't talk to them or not, I still love them.
It's the way it should be.
Yeah.
You know, but and it's funny you bring up Parasi Bakery and a few others, but the world famous one out of Little Italy is what? Ferraris. If you think about it, everyone, you know, if you go to Little Italy now, did you go to Ferraris? The first thing they ask you. That was one of the places I would avoid back in the day. I don't know why. I can't answer honestly why I would avoid it. I just maybe didn't like the lines or something. But, you know, we used to go to the Vincent's was on that street, and we used to go there a lot. But we would always wind up by Ferraris. I'm like, yeah, I don't like this place.
They claim they have the world's best cannoli.
That's
No,
debatable.
well-
I would imagine that's arguable. I mean, I would have an argument over that. I've tasted cannolis here even that I thought were amazing. There was a restaurant we used to go to, don't ask me the name of it, back in Brooklyn. It was in a house, and they had a cannoli, but it was filled with like a French cream almost, not a cannoli cream. And that was pretty good.
There was, if you were from the neighborhood, you didn't go to Ferraris. You know where you went? Cafe Roma.
Cafe Roma.
See if that's
which was
where
right on the corner.
on
wasn't
the
it?
corner,
It was
Broom
on the
and
yeah.
Mulberry.
Yeah, I remember going there. In fact, I rather would go there than Ferraris. So, but not knocking Ferraris. They're great. They're world famous. And I would think, but when people hear Little Italy, that's one of the spots you think of, you know.
Right, Ferraris. Because
Ferraris, yeah.
see, Cafe Roma, they never really marketed or capitalized on that. Ferrara became more like, to us, living in the neighborhood, more like the commercial. Touristy spot.
Right. And that's what they designed it for, I think, more or less.
If you wanted, you know, you getting together and you wanted a real box of pastries, you went to Cafe Roma.
Yeah.
Or they did all the St. Joseph's, the Easter cakes, all the cookies, the Italian ices.
Well, coming into that season, it's honest.
Yeah, Cafe Roma. A lot of history to that place, too. I think it was tied to Genovese family. One guy that was Genovese guy. Yeah, you see, they were never up on their, you know, you
There's
pull a
St.
Ferrari.
Joseph's. There's St. Joseph's pastry.
You pull a Ferraris, they got a nice website. They got all, you know, they're on it. Roma, Cafe Roma, they got a
Facebook page.
Yeah, that's the
Look at
that.
that great.
But you know what? If they had a marketing team behind them like Ferrari did, if they took the same approach, they'd be just as big.
Yeah.
See, we got places like that in Cleveland. That's Corbo's and Prestes, and like you got those spots.
Absolutely.
So you want to delve into this Brasco thing?
Yeah.
Because then we got to change the title on the thing because it says the Lucchese and the Colombo families. We got to change the Lucchese and Banana family.
Yeah. Well,
make it official, you know? And then we'll have some nice coffee and pastries, no?
absolutely. You know, it's interesting. On one of the back pages, I still have, he used to have some notes in here. Don't ask me what happened to him. But on this back page, paper clipped in his handwriting, and just a bunch of page numbers that he wrote down. I do remember, you know, an incident where my uncle was actually upset with Donnie, or Joe Pistone, I should say, the FBI agent, and I'll try to look for it here. Donnie, I keep saying.
Every time
it's actually Joe Pistone is his real name. We might as well use his real name, right? But the title of the book is the Donnie Brasco story. You know, my life undercover as a mafia agent. You know, so FBI agent undercover in the mob. I'm trying to figure out. He wrote a lot of stuff here. There was one that pissed him off was Donnie's description of my uncle, which he said he was a greasy Italian-looking guy. My uncle was more mad at
greasy?
That. Yeah,
it's in the book?
I'm going to try to find it here.
I tell you.
339. Yeah, but he described my uncle as that my uncle was more pissed that he described him like that than anything else. Like, my uncle's going to prison because of this guy, and he's more pissed that he described him the way he did.
I know. Now stop right there for a second, right? What year was this?
Oh, well, he was indicted. I want to say this had to be in the 80s, early 80s.
So you know what's funny?
My timeline again. I'm not a
You're not
I'm not a historian.
Not
yet. I hope to be someday at this ripe old age. We'll get there. But
this show never claims to be.
No.
But here's the analogy I want to bring.
Go ahead.
Like your uncle read that and got pissed off. It's like reading a bad comment today on your
podcast.
So listen to this.
See if I can find it. Son of a gun.
I was told.
Go ahead.
And I'm abiding by it. I don't read any of the comments. None. I have a team for that. They
read the comments through and see what the people are saying.
Since I started this, never read the comments. I don't answer them. I don't read them. Nothing personal. But my team, who was very professional at this, said, Frank, you are not allowed to read the comments, good or bad. We'll take care of that. And
I like that thought process.
Yeah. So I get it, right? And what they told me, too, is that, not that, I said, well, look, I don't get mad because, you know, it's somebody who probably has a fake account. You know, you can't confront them. They're not telling it to your face. And if you do try to confront them, they're not going to do it. They say, no, even the bad comments are good because it creates engagement. The more people engaging in the conversation, the better it. So actually, they're helping us. So I said, I never looked at it.
Any comment's a good comment, realistically, isn't it? I mean, you have to have good, bad, and ugly, as they say.
Now, I know your uncle didn't have that mentality, like saying, well, you know, I'm in the book. Did it help me? No, it didn't help him either way, but.
I can't find it now. Son of a gun.
Anytime you have lovers, you have haters. There's no.
If
you dwelled on either the lovers or the haters, you just, there's no point.
Guess who's calling me right now?
Same guy who called the last
time. The guy who can't keep his food in his mouth when he's chewing.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
I don't want to answer because we're in the middle of this.
So I do have a note here, by the way, about some of the comments on the last episode.
Now, why are you going to bless it? But why? Now, why?
No, you're going to love this one. This one's really great.
I thought we weren't supposed to talk about the comments.
No, it has to do with Uncle Sonny. You're going to love it. It says,
back to Uncle Sonny.
The host is the Italian version of Jeff Goldblum.
Well, guys, you compare. I'm putting my glasses on for that because
can we get a medic?
But he
Frank's
does
choking to death.
Now that everybody says that, so I'll give you what happened one night. So I guess I'm the Italian version of Jeff Goldblum. I guess I like that. I'll accept that. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny that comes up. We're laughing, but
I can't. I tell you.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I want to do a side by side
Italian
right now.
version. The Italian version.
With the
Let's put the
glasses.
glasses back on. So this is hysterical. That's hysterical.
So you say you were.
This is the second time this has happened. Okay, so we're out to dinner. We went to a sushi place. I think my two sister-in-laws were there and my wife, and we went to a local sushi joint. And we're sitting there. We ordered, and the Oriental girls are off to the side. There's about 2 or 3 of them, and they're looking at a phone, and they're pointing and giggling and laughing. And finally, I'm trying to figure out if they're laughing at me, if I got something hanging off my nose, what's going on. They come over with the picture of this guy on their phone, and they're going, "You look like him. You look like him." I'm like, "Oh, my God." And, of course, my family all agrees with them. Yeah, he does look like them. So I guess I am the Italian version of Jeff Goldblum. I guess that's not so bad.
What is that? The
could be
Fly,
worse.
Jurassic Park. We could do
He's
this
in a
all day,
lot of movies.
lot of
This
movies,
guy.
lot of movies.
Somebody said that he's in that new movie Wicked that's out, and that's been out for a while. I guess he plays the Wizard of Oz. So here I am. Hey, if you need a double, if you're watching out there, Jeff, I can double up for you. Not a problem. We even have the same colored beard. It's amazing. So someone said that on the comment that I'm the Italian
it's on the
version
comment.
of Jeff Goldblum. God bless him.
Literally, that's
Wow.
it. The host is the Italian version of Jeff
That's
Goldblum.
what it says.
Wow, that's a classic. That might stick.
That may stick here.
That might stick.
So anyway, back to this book, because I can't find in right. Oh, can't find anything.
Look,
in
he's
right
trying to
now.
change the subject.
Trying to
real
change
quick.
the subject. Anyway, like I was saying, this is the actual book my uncle had at the time when all this came out, and he was heading to court. And I did find a page where it does say that he was indicted in New York in 1987. I'm sure that was all after the court cases. That was kind of later when I see a lot of these other guys indicted in 85, indicted in 83, and so on and so forth. There's Alley Boy there. So there's a lot of people in this book. And I guess this is, has an FBI agent infiltrate the mob, Poor
what he mentioned-
Lefty takes all the blame for that, obviously.
But when they mention him in the book, how did he react to it? He was pissed off about that comment.
He was pissed off about the comment. Yeah, but, he also wrote in some notes that he felt Donnie had, or Mr. Pistone, I should say, he felt that the FBI agent Joe had laid a lot of crap into there. Like there was a lot of stuff that my uncle said weren't true. Something about that went down in Florida about Joe Puma. That's in here on page, I think it's 346. They were down in Florida, but my uncle said a lot of that. Joe didn't remember a lot of stuff because he never wrote anything down, couldn't write anything down. And my uncle said he forgot more than he should. So he wasn't happy about that there was a lot of untruth in here, kind of like you're experiencing some of that as well, what's going on in the internet and so on. So I guess that, when you're an FBI agent, you can't write stuff down if you infiltrated the mob. So he wasn't wired. And so not everything my uncle felt was 100% accurate about how he spoke in the book. So
That's entertainment.
yeah, well, I guess everything gets Hollywood. Well, if you look at a picture of Mr. Pistone, he doesn't look like Johnny, who played him in the movie, and Lefty doesn't look like the other guy.
Well, Johnny Depp played, what's that movie, Blow?
Yeah,
He
what a
played
great movie
Jung. What was the name of the guy?
That he portrayed. Yeah, I can't think of the name.
Because I was soulmates with Carlos Ledher.
Okay, let's hear about that a little bit.
Yes, I was soulmates with him, and we were in Witsec unit in Farrington, New Jersey.
Okay.
Probably for about a year, more than a year. It was funny because now here I am. When I was on the street, I read books that had this guy in it. Now I'm Sully's with him,
Wow.
And he cooperated, but he still got 40 years. I think they just let him out.
Really?
I was locked up in Florence out here in the county holdover for the feds. And I seen a ticket tape come over CNN. Carlos Ledher, they released him to Germany because he was half German.
That's interesting.
But, he was half German and half Colombian. He favored the German side.
Huh.
He didn't favor the Colombian side. He was fluent in both languages.
Wow. I didn't know
multiple,
that. I had
multiple
no idea.
languages. Yeah, but fluent in multiple. Fast forward, I'm in Latuna, Texas, on this beef, on this bid, and the cops over there were telling me how Johnny Depp used to come to the prison because Jung, I can't remember his first name.
George
Jung. That's
Jung.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
George Jung was in Latuna, where I was, and they were getting ready to film the movie Blow, and BOP would allow Johnny Depp to come into the yard and walk with George Jung.
The real George. Yeah.
To get his, the way he walked, the way he talked, came to see him. And
yeah, that's some deep research on Depp's part, but he's a good actor, so I can get why he would go do all that.
In that prison, right, in El Paso, so in El Paso, Texas, it's on the border of Anthony, New Mexico.
Okay.
That's the mailing address. When I pulled up to this joint, 1,500 inmates, old prison. They have the Valachi suite there.
Is that right?
You ever heard of that?
No.
Okay. So you know what Joe Valachi is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Back in the day when he flipped, they had a suite built for him in El Paso, Texas, in Latuna, called the Valachi suite.
Interesting.
I guess the president of the United States, whoever was in, you got to look up history. They built this thing for him, and that's where he did his time. So throughout the years, the place is notorious for that, the Valachi suite.
Wow.
And when I had heard, when the guys like that cooperated before in the past, they would put them in the Valachi suite. I think Gaspipe was there once too.
Okay.
Don't know what it is. I've never been in it. Don't know what it's like, but from what I understand, it's not a lot more luxurious than what you're in. I'd rather be in population because, you're kind of more confined.
Yeah, I would imagine being in population, you're going to get to be with people and understand who's who.
And the population is predominantly Mexican, which not the Mexicans you think of. There's a difference. You got the Mexican American, which were actually born here. Then you got the Mexicans from Mexico, which they refer to as paisa.
What does that mean?
So I guess in Spanish, it's considered paisan.
Okay.
Very
Makes
similar.
sense. Makes perfect sense.
And I got to tell you, when Vlad was talking to me about, did you have any problem with the Mexicans? Because they're the dominant, they call them a car. What car are you with? Meaning how many numbers you got, what race do you run with? Because when you get into prison, it's all about race, right? Stupid, but that's the way it is. The paisa, never had a problem with it.
Why do you think that is? Why do you?
They were good to me.
What'd they call you?
The Podfather. So they would tease me.
Okay.
Right? Hey, Italiano. I don't speak Italian. I was born here.
Yeah.
Mafios. I'm not in the mob no more.
Yeah.
But they love me. They took care of me.
That's great.
They would cook. They had everything locked down in the prison. So as far as the kitchen goes, they had access to all the food. They had access to whatever. And I had carte blanche with them.
That's good that you were able to connect with them like that.
Oh,
that's amazing. That makes excuse the expression, the stay a little bit better. A little bit.
And again, I'm not racist, and I got nothing against any groups out there. They just got a different belief system. That racist white group, and maybe it was because they felt like I should have hooked up with them, if something broke out. But, 55 years old, I'm walking in there, I'm 55 at the time, 54. I got a year left. When I come there to join a gang, catch another beef?
Yeah. No, thanks.
No. So what do I do? I play chess.
That's not your style anyway, so.
No, I play chess, read, do a little cooking, which we'll get into sometime on the show.
Yeah.
And you mind your business, right? You find one or two guys you do your time with, and you'll be all right. Yeah, and you don't drink, you don't gamble, you don't fool around with anything, you don't need anything from anybody. You're good.
Yeah, you don't live that lifestyle. You don't drink, you don't do any kind of drugs, you don't do,
But I tell you what, though, they had a heavy cartel influence in Latuna
That's interesting.
because it's on the border of Juarez, Mexico.
Okay.
So a lot of the guys that were getting picked up, were bosses in Juarez
Wow.
because the border's right there.
And they wind up there in Latuna?
For some bizarre reason, what happened was I started out in the FCI.
Okay.
They weren't supposed to put me in the FCI because of my points. And I'll get into it. I can't talk about it yet because it pertains to the case.
Yeah, you got to be casual.
Because I know the probation department's watching every episode, and I don't want to get stupidly violated.
Yeah. Not for nonsense.
No, because there's, I'm not supposed to talk about the case, but
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is that originally I started out at the FCI, which was good, no problem with it. No, I do my time. But then I got moved over to the camp.
Okay.
So in the camp, there's no fences, there's no walls, there's no nothing, So that's good and bad because there's a lot more temptation. And there's a lot more, believe it or not, there's a lot more going on at the camp because there's no security.
Now, you're in the camp because you're getting close to coming home? Is that why you were placed there?
Well, when you hit, it depends on what crime you're charged with.
Okay.
With the point system. So this beef I was in on a non-violent crime.
Right.
And then your age, you take that all into consideration.
Okay. So
my points dropped all the way down to like a low security. Your security level drops.
Gotcha.
So my security level drops. I get shipped down to the camp. So the camp is right down the hill from the FCI.
Okay.
And man, I tell you. So you had a lot of guys in there, again, bosses of cartels, were real sharp. I mean, you could see those guys walking around there, different clientele.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, clientele is different when you go to a camp. It's true. It's not fed. It's not club fed anymore. That's all a lie. When
Really?
Barbara Walters did that whole big thing about club fed.
Yeah.
That's all BS.
Okay.
It's not the same no more.
Okay.
But I tell you what, a funny story. I could talk about it now. So you're in these 4-man pods, right? And like I said, there's only one guard to watch over probably 100 guys in one building. And then he had to walk all the way up the hill, another guard for another building with 100 guys in it. Way understaffed. There were cell phones all over the place. Now, I know if you get caught with a cell phone, it's an escape charge.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
Explain that. I don't.
No idea, but they take it very seriously.
Wow.
You get caught with a phone, it's a 100 series shot. They go in series. I'll explain it later on how it works. So I know a lot of people will be interested in how life is inside.
Of course. Yeah.
And I could probably explain it within 2 different decades of time, right?
Yeah. That's true.
But the cell phones, they take it as an escape charge. And I guess the reason why they take it as an escape charge is because you have the power to communicate quickly.
Right.
So basically, hey, Uncle Sonny, come pick me up.
Okay.
You come by, I just jump, and we go, right? Anyway, the cell phones all over the place. So they're always shaking down, trying to find spots where they keep them and, stuff, everything. Yeah. So it's coming towards the holidays. I'm watching this commercial. The commercial, what's the steak commercial where Omaha Steaks?
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. They have like, kits they had for the holidays.
Yeah, home delivery. Yeah.
Home delivery, like, 4 steaks, you get chicken breast, you get hot dogs, you get all this stuff, right? I'm standing at the TV and I'm going, man, I can't wait to get a real filet,
of course.
have a real meal. So one of the guys comes over to me and goes, hey, Mafios. He says, I get you, if you want. No, don't worry about it. No. He says, we got guys going out every night.
Wow.
So one night would be, let's say, burger night.
Okay.
Come around, take your order. What do you want? Where are you going? Going to McDonald's. Give me a Big Mac, whatever.
Yeah.
There was a price to it.
I'm sure.
But kid would jump off, go to McDonald's, fill out the orders, come back, done. Tonight's pizza night. We're going out for pizza. It wasn't
awesome.
really crazy pizza. It was like Peter Piper pizza.
Considering where you're at,
Make a long story short, kid was going to Walmart. I said, go pick up a George Foreman grill.
Oh, my
Picks up a George Foreman grill. I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking about this now, but it's no big deal. Right?
Yeah.
Picks me up a George Foreman grill. I hide it in the vent, right? And then I had the Omaha Steaks appear up. Anyway, they appeared.
Oh,
I'm not going to say how.
Yeah, they showed up.
It got into my possession.
They fell off a truck.
So, not exactly. Well, almost. It fell off a truck right outside the jail. Anyway, I didn't go get it, but anyway, it gets in my possession, right? So here I am. I'm making, I'm grilling steak and shrimp. Obviously the guard, I had a guy who was a lookout that would call on the phone and say, hey, the guard's gone, whatever. Right. He's up the hill. And then me and my buddies, the guys that hung out with me in there.
You started grilling. We
started grilling, right? I'm saying, look at this. This is no different than the Goodfellas in the movie.
Not really.
This is better. Because we had the grill right there, And I said, well, you know what? I'm not comfortable with these clothes. Well, the kid's going to Walmart again. All right, give me a jogging suit and different sneakers and
That's awesome.
Give me a different coffee cup.
Yeah.
So it got to be a joke because I'm walking around.
You had a personal shopper. Think about it.
Here's what.
Did they get some underwear?
You're in jail. You got a personal shopper.
Store.
People, they don't have to.
Give me a 3-pack of black underwear, Fruit of the Looms. So anyway, I'm walking around. It's obvious I didn't get the cup at the commissary.
Right.
My flip flops don't match. Nothing matches. But everybody knows I'm short. I'm going home. Short means you're going home.
Yeah.
And the counselor's just shaking his head. The guards, everybody, like leave him alone.
Yeah.
So nobody bothered with me. Like they didn't mess with me.
That's cool. If you think about it, that's
It was more of a respect. Because I was like a model inmate. I didn't bother nobody. I didn't bother the cops. I didn't bother nobody. I didn't even talk to the cops. But they would read the papers. They would read the internet and stuff. Right. And they had this respect for me, right? That maybe I deserved, maybe I didn't deserve. But anyways, they were very cordial to me, and they left me alone.
That's good.
So I'm on the phone with my family, I'm on the phone calling collect on the payphone. And, they're worried about you. How you doing, everything. I said, don't worry about me. I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
I'm doing just fine. Don't worry about it. Then when I get out, they're like, we expected you to be more in shape, really thin. I'm like, well, I wasn't.
I
wasn't hungry. If I needed something, I found it.
Same when you leave all this stuff behind. I had a special table made for me so I could fit my chessboard on it.
Okay.
The same chessboard I had for years that I played all these guys on, these names that I'll bring up, but I had a special board made for me because that's how I was known for the chess. I won. I was the champ pretty much in the jail.
Wow.
In the FCI and the camp.
Really?
And what you win is like a case of soda. Soda's big in there.
Okay.
I didn't drink it, but it's currency,
Interesting.
Right. But I had my special desk made up with my chessboard laid out, ready to go. Anybody wanted to come play me, they come play. We had a weight pile out there. I was lifting a lot of weights. That's when I came out, I was,
Yeah, you were at least in shape.
Yeah, I came out like a football player shape,
Yeah.
And walk the track. You're walking, you can knock off 5 miles easy without even counting. 10 miles a day is no big deal in there. Go around the track, walk here, walk there.
Is that a big thing in there to try to stay as healthy as you possibly can while you're there? Or is that just killing time?
A lot of guys do their time different.
Yeah.
Some guys are really sick in there. Some guys are, they're in bad shape. They need to go to the hospital.
That's
they're waiting for an operation. There was a guy in there, Archie. What a good guy, If you see the clip from this guy, he got a job with Brinks, working for Brinks trucks.
Okay.
And his wife got a job too. So when you work for Brinks, you pick up all the money. And what they do is they hire an undercover car to follow you.
Yeah.
Well, guess what the undercover car is? His wife. Who they don't know is his wife. They went for an application that, so they got him on video. 60 minutes this is on. You die laughing. There's Charlie with the truck. And then you see the car pull up on the side of him, and the bags go flying out. Right out the window. It gets back, there's supposed to be 10 million. There's 300,000 missing. Charlie, where's the money? I don't know.
Hmm.
So they chalk it up.
Yeah.
It kept happening. Before you know it, they started getting another surveillance on him, and they wound up pinching the whole family.
Wow.
But the story is amazing. If you go on...
and it's on 60 Minutes,
I
you
got to
said?
get his full name, but the point I'm trying to make is the guy looked like a picture of health, in shape. Probably, I would say he had to be in his 70s.
Wow.
But I mean, like, guy was six-pack, ripped.
In his 70s.
Watched everything.
God bless.
Had to be late 60s, early 70s, right? Six-pack, ripped, not an ounce of fat on this guy. He worked out religiously. Whatever he ate was, he watched everything he ate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, he felt something. He went to the PA, you know, the doctor there.
Yeah.
He had cancer all through his lung cancer. The guy didn't even smoke. They wound up shipping him out to like Butner or one of those hospitals. They took out one of his lungs or something like that.
Wow. What a sin to go through that, where you have to live and then be at that age, and you're in health, good health at that, and then having to deal with cancer.
There's another guy in there. He was waiting for surgery. He had a brain tumor.
Mm.
So answer to your question is, yeah, you're getting in a routine. You're doing a lot of walking. Some guys do a lot of reading. Depends what, you know, but it doesn't mean you go away. You're healthy. You're healthy in a sense that, you know, if a guy's a drug addict and he comes in there, he's an alcoholic. But still today, there's so much.
There's stuff you can acquire while you're there.
There was guys nodding out. You couldn't believe.
Really?
I mean, guys ODing. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But I'll save all the jailhouse stories because it was nuts. Like I said, the point to the whole conversation was the Mexicans.
Yep.
Good people.
Good people.
All right, ending episode 3. I'll see you when I see you.
Sounds good to me.